Hello everyone, are you ready for another adventure? It's me, Wokey, and I'm back with a fake Grand Order video. The second stage is open, so it's time to do more lotto grinding. This time, on the 90++ one, because these are assassins, and the assassins, a bunch of assassins are much easier to fight than randomly a berserker, a foreigner, and then Doman with a whole fuck ton of HP that I don't want to deal with. This one's much easier because they all there's 3 big bosses in this one, but they all have about 300,000, and that's possible to do not too bad if you have a high NP unit, or you have a unit that's currently using the thing that gives damage bonus, which is what I have right here with Scherazade. So that's gonna be today's video. Feel free to tell me what you've been using the grind. Either you've been doing 90 plus or 90++, or one of the lower ones. Those are fine. Whatever your current speed is, feel free to tell me. 90 plus, from what I've heard, is better to grind if you have all 6 of them. If you can have all slots filled up with the with this C right here. If you can have all of them in there, then do plus. But if you can't, because it's very hard to do plus with all 6 of them, you'd have to be insanely welled out, and even then, you'd have to have the right units to do it. Even, for example, my Summer Ibuki, I don't think can do it. I think I could do it if I had Scotty at MP5, I think, because she deals bonus damage. Or if I had Daikokutin at MP5. So, yeah, let's head into there with Scherazade. So, fun fact, I've been recording this for longer than I intended to. One, I actually was doing a video with Daikokutin, because up until this point, I have been using Daikokutin to farm. With 100% and with the 100% damage bonus CE, and then later on the 200%er. So I said, you know what, that's super easy. I haven't had a single issue with her at all. It's good to run for a video, and even though I know that not everyone cares if it's like super functioning team, I still have to care at the end of the day. And I went in with Daikokutin, and I immediately ran into the worst fears possible, which is a bunch of low rolling. Because mine is only NP1, sometimes she would leave this boss here that I'm about to completely fucking eviscerate here. Sometimes she would leave it with 20,000 HP left, which is easy enough to clean up if you get unlucky and you don't have other Daikokutins and it's just Scotty's as backup. But other times she would low roll and they would be left with like 80,000 HP left, and that's really bad. That means that unless I have 2 of her card, there was no chance in hell I was gonna have a shot at killing them. And that happened multiple times. Like the Doomsday scenario in my head that I had never run into, all of them showed up for that video. If I can show it real quick, I'll show it right here. Just a compilation of me going, what the fuck? Gives you crit stars, and crit stars can come in really handy. But I'll go here. That should be enough. Which, in case, this is going to be very bad when they fail to kill right here. Oh no. One moment. There was an additional buff that I forgot to give. This should make it easier. But also, that was insanely bad luck. But yeah, with that additional bonus at the beginning, it does help with the damage. I swear to God, if you miss this one as well, what is going on? More NP levels, because I can't believe I got the same fucking thing again. Are we really gonna test this again? Okay, no, because now that's 100%. So if I go here and here, I think that should be good enough. No, I need more power, and the best way to get... Unfortunately, the best way to get more power in this game... I low-rolled on that, I just realized. I cannot believe the luck that I'm having in this video. And then having to immediately reset. So then I reset, and I used the Scherazade team, and then I immediately started acting bad there as well. I blame just being tired, and I was at, I'm still recovering from being tired from FanFest, because we went to Universal yesterday, for FanFest, which I'll have a video talking about that a little bit more, just because there was Shonen Jump stuff there, which was, I actually wanted to go there just for the fun of it, because it was for my birthday and stuff like that, and I like going to Universal with my siblings. But then there was another reason of like, oh, I can talk about this on Shonen Archive, actually. Oh, Shonen Archive Gaiden, where I can talk about the weird side things that happen, and that's definitely one of them when they did FanFest there. Because in Japan, they have the Shonen Jump stuff there, but over here for us, we typically don't have that in Universal. So yeah, I blame it all on me being tired. And when you're tired and you're grinding, you make mistakes. And I was making crazy fucking mistakes, man. I was like, oh god. And it shouldn't be that hard, right? All I'm doing is like pressing buttons, but I was just getting a combination of not playing good and then also just like bad RNG. Even with this case with Scherazade, I was having some bad RNG until I realized, like, wait a minute, there's a way for me to eliminate it. And the funny thing is that there's no reason for you to have bad RNG with Scherazade in general, because you could see that I had a Castoria NP ready, so I could just use double Castoria NP, and then from that point forward, she doesn't have a single issue killing these dudes. But the problem is that takes a lot of time up. And when you have that many fast NPs, you may as well use a unit that has less NPs that need to help them grind and stuff. Boom, 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 go in there. At least that's my thought process on it. I guess for other people it matters a little bit less, but for me, I definitely take into account a lot of the times it takes for it. And sometimes it doesn't matter to me, but sometimes when it comes to lotto and stuff like that, it does kind of matter. When it's like a regular average ass event, I don't care. Like if this was the I'm trying to think of like a good event name to think of right now. But if this was an event where, like the Takatsuji one, I wouldn't care. Not really. Even at the ones where if, like, it's a mission ladder, I don't care. You have plenty of time to get to the mission ladder end and be done with it, and it's not an issue to go fast. It's only an issue with something like this, where the only stopping point is you. Which in this case, the lotto is grind the lotto as much as you can before before the end of it. So yeah, man. All right, go in here again. Oh, thank you, Gab. Be the most available one. Yeah, but I think I don't know if I'm close to being done with the lotto. I need to do a double check and see my materials to see how much I actually need from the lotto. But really, I think the unfortunate situation is that the bond bonus that they've given is only for a couple. Honestly, I could use that for Donzo now that I think about it. This would be a good chance to get Donzo's bond up just a little bit. Just because one of the... I never get to use Donzo. So if I want to... And I like Donzo a whole bunch, don't get me wrong. I try and use the units that are even not the greatest whenever I can. It's just that Donzo is a next level of not the greatest unit in the world. So you really have to try to use her where you can. And it's a no-go for a lot of the time. So a lot of the time you usually try and stick them in the back, but with team costs being what they are, I'm sometimes not even really able to get away with that. So I have to come up with something else. Because I was thinking, like, the ones that have a bond bonus are the new unit, Kashin Koji, which makes a whole bunch of sense. And then the other ones, it's like, yeah, Miyu, Chloe, Illya, I could technically do. Kataro, I could technically do for as well, but... nothing really comes. But Donzo is different. I like Donzo a whole bunch, and it is actually kind of a pain in the ass to do a lot of things with Donzo. I don't know why I activated that. There's no reason. You ain't dying here, girl. Don't worry about it. You're killing the shit out of this Valkyrie. Don't worry about it. This is something to think about. Man. And then, put the story away. Did you know? Probably you don't know how this works, because I don't know if they tell you in the game that this is how it works. But let me see here. I'll go back up just a little bit, just to show you what I'm talking about. But do you know how Scherazade's Noble Phantasm works? 1001 Arabian Nights. Let me see if I can... I'll be able to, I think, pull it up here in the Bond profile stuff. Let me see. Persia. Source of the 1001 Nights Arabian. Let me see. Ali Lala Wala. The target is not taking passes again. This is a reality model under the guise of her tale. Whose tales is strongly asserted that her tale is indeed the truth. It becomes reality. Every character's stories that were added on by later generations. Actually, there's not to the purpose or ability user as the purpose is to entertain the king. This novel phantasm tales always end with and is how the story goes. I don't think it really talks about it here. They talk about a bunch of other stuff here, but let me just explain how I understand how it works. So because of that bit there where it says Aladdin and Sinbad, because if you don't know, I believe Aladdin and Sinbad are not original tales from 1001 Nights. There's a lot of iconic stories in 1001 Nights, but not those two. But because of that, the way that Her Noble Phantasm works is that they actually incorporated the idea that, because obviously they wanted to do 1001 Nights and they wanted to make it so that she had access to those dudes and her little like sprites. Because she has a sprite for Aladdin and I think for Sinbad as well, and the genie. Which, well, to be fair, there's jinns in the story of 1001 Nights. That's not the craziest thing to hear or know about. But because of the idea that any story can be attributed to 1001 Nights as long as it's Scherazade's, and that because people gave her stories even though they weren't her original, any story she reads can become a part of 1001 Nights. So if she's reading it, it becomes part of the Noble Phantasm, and she can bring it to life, basically. Which sounds really cool, but they've never done anything with that at all. Which sounds like an insane, easy layup way to do a really sick event based off of like a book and to give it a justifiable meaning. Is to say like, oh yeah, the world itself, it comes from Scherazade and stuff like that. But I think that would require them to actually use Scherazade. And they've already put all their effort into making sure that people didn't hate her anymore for what she said at the end of the Agartha Singularity. So maybe it's a tough sell, which is the same reason I think we've never gotten Summer Scherazade. Like a Summer Scherazade where she was able to have her own like little part of Summer where it was like taken from another book would be really cool. But you know, I guess doing nothing is just as cool as well. But yeah, that's how Her Noble Phantasm works. And I thought that was a really cool way of incorporating the idea that like she's not the one who even tells all the stories that you see in 1001 Nights. Like the most famous ones obviously are Aladdin, thanks to Lion King, but so is Sinbad. Sinbad had a bunch of stories and movies based off of Sinbad and stuff like that. But I think that's really cool. I was thinking of something, but I got distracted by Ikimos. I like when they do Noble Phantasm like that. It's similar to for Vlad. I like that Vlad's entire suit is being like taken over by the influence that comes from Dracula, and he actively dislikes that he gets that from it. Which is funny because if you see Vlad without the influence of Dracula, he's a fucking crazy person. At least the one from Extra. I don't know how it works in the one from APOC. I've never fully understood how APOC Vlad is a APOC Vlad is a Lancer in APOC, but he looks nothing and acts nothing like the version from Extra, who is a crazy religious man. I guess you could say that they summoned a version that was more closer to the Lord version and not the one that like lost his mind and stuff like that. But then why are they the same fucking, like, class and stuff? Maybe it's because he's closer to Romania, and that gives him more power, and maybe he's able to control it a little bit more. It would require someone with more thought and thinking of APOC than I currently exist, and stuff like that. If you know APOC enough to know that answer, feel free to tell me. But I'm trying to think of how many times has a unit been summoned in the same class. Ah, it's Ku, actually. Ku has been summoned as a Lancer, and he's been summoned as like different ages with different voices. Woo, bond up. Thank you, Lady Avalon. Thank you for the free Saint Quartz. Put that to the pile for the upcoming end times that we are going to enter. I can use a silver. Someone was saying, how do you have so many apples? Do you not grind the lotto? I do, and I do to a really good degree, actually. I'm just able to hold on to a lot of my stuff. Like, a lot of the QP that I hold, I've already grinded up a bunch of my, a lot of my teams. Like, every one of my bonks is already, like, level 90, and if they're not level 90, they're likely level 100, or they're going to level 120 for 4 of them. So I don't really need to use QP that often until someone shows up, or there's a skill that needs leveling up, and even then I usually wait until I absolutely need it, and then I usually give it to the units that I feel actually needed and stuff. Like for this lotto session, I'm really looking to try and get a lot of people to bond 6 that I can, and then also open up that 20% mana stuff, and kind of start holding out for the additional appends. I don't think there's many units that that need to take advantage of it, but I need to pay attention to that and see, like, okay, who can actually take advantage of this and use it to their most crazy ability. But yeah, I grind it. You can see there, but I have like 500 silver apples. Back in the old days of FGO, I used to have very little apples. But at some point, I started saving a lot of them for the big times, and when you're saving a lot of stamina, what you end up doing is you try and use it as type effective as possible. So it ended up with me not rushing a lot of events and being able to hold on to a lot of a lot of apples and stuff. So maybe I just got lucky. Who knows? It feels like I got lucky. I can't actually explain how I have so many apples. I think it actively confounds a lot of FGO players for you to have that much apples on you. But I wonder if it's just a case of I've been playing this game for an extremely long time, so just naturally over time I've been able to build up a buttload of apples. I'd be really curious to hear, how's the current apple supply of everyone right now? I assume that they're in okay straits because there's still another leg of the race to go through. And especially now with the ability to like save your stamina and stuff, and I've already beaten most events. Like, they gave me an additional apple that you can build on your own, and I'm already like, oh yeah, all this stamina that I have here was built for this specific instance where I can use them all finally. So even in that case, I don't need to use my silver. I actually end up using my bronze apples more than anything, because a lot of the time I'm like clicking buttons and going, alright, give me enough to be able to do this stupid stage right now. And usually the bronze apples are the best way of doing it without going into an overload of apples. An overload of stamina. Like, I hate ending something and being like, okay, well now I have more stamina to still use. I find that very annoying. So I try and avoid that. Put it in there. Yeah. Very nice. Alright, go in there. Bring them. Well, this will be likely the last one, I think. I have to check on my stamina, actually. But I have to edit this up and then do the thing. But I'm pretty sure I can do this last one. I also like that they stick in there. I wonder what would they do if they ever decided to update this NP. Obviously, they don't need to, because that final shot is timeless. It's perfect the way it is, and it will forever be perfect as long as everything goes up. But I'm trying to think about, the only thing they would do is like have the fights nicer. The funny thing that I would imagine as an update is to do the classic FGO update thing of they put a full face shot, so after she puts it away in her chest, they do a close-up of her face. Because that's the only time they'd be able to show a close. I guess when she's on top of the bird, they could show that as well, but I think it'd be funnier to save her for that moment. Okay, it's 10 stamina, that's perfectly fine. I'll call it here. I'll finally get back to doing I plan to start doing the Illya fights tomorrow at some point, so I'll finally get around to doing those. I've already seen from other people saying, oh, these are way easier than I thought, and I have like a 200% bonus damage NP'er, so I'll just slap that on a unit that I think, like, okay, if things go bad, then I'm gonna give this to you. But that's the end of today's video, everyone. Happy grinding out there, and I wish you all the best of luck. Until next time, I'll see y'all later. Peace.